everybody, welcome to my farmhouse kitchen. This is one of my favorite places to be because this is where great things are made. So today I am celebrating my niece's birthday. She just turned 12 and she asked me to make her a chocolate trifle cake. This cake is wonderful and I wanted to share the recipe with you. I'm going to do this in a two-part video. I'm going to show you in this one how the cake is put together and what the ingredients are. And since I am not really computer savvy, I don't do PDFs and all that stuff because I'm just old school. But if you want to follow along in the video when you get ready to make this cake, I think you should try it. It's really great. Or you can just write down the recipe as I go. You can get a pen and paper. I'll wait. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start off with, it calls for an egg. So I have a sink full of eggs here because I just gathered the eggs and they're all washed and clean. So I've got an egg and I am going to put it into my bowl. A nice, beautiful egg. And then it calls for 2/3 vegetable oil. So I got a measuring cup, I got my vegetable oil, and I'm going to mix 2/3 in with the egg. So let me see. 2/3 right here. I guess it would help if I take the plastic cap off. It's a new bottle. Silly me. Okay, 2/3. So I need 2/3 cup of vegetable oil. Okay. So I'm going to put that in with my egg. And then we are going to need 1 cup of buttermilk. You can buy fake buttermilk, but I prefer the real stuff because it's tangy and delicious. And it makes great. So I've got a little bit of buttermilk left here that needs to be used up. My top is crusty. Good Lord. Okay, so we need 1 cup. Or 8 ounces. So there's a little bit more than a cup in there. We won't use the rest of that. So I'll set that aside. So I'm going to mix that in with my oil and my egg, buttermilk, and I am going to whisk this together. I need a small whisk. So I'm just going to whisk this up. And then, see, in a large bowl, I'm going to get my flour, sugar, cocoa, baking soda, and salt, and I'll give you the measurements on that. I'm going to get this mixed up, wipe off my buttermilk crumbs. Alright, let me see, I gotta grab my mixing bowl. I have a KitchenAid mixer, and I mix everything in this. I love it. So I'm going to need 2 cups of flour. I didn't get my flour out, so give me 1 moment and I will get my flour. I thought I was prepared this morning. It's my flour. Buried. I'm sorry, I hope you enjoyed the view. I thought I was prepared this morning, but apparently I'm not, so this is real life, nothing rehearsed. I use King Arthur flour and I keep it in the freezer, so it got pushed in the back, so it took me a little longer to get it. Otherwise I'd start over, but I'm like, you know, this is real life for me, frazzled and all. So, okay. I said I need 2 cups of flour. Follow me. Look at my hair, it's a mess. Oh. So, I'm just going to divvy right in here, and I'm just going to measure out 2 cups of flour into my mixing bowl. My flour, I really prefer the unbleached kind. I don't know, I like things kind of natural, I guess. My unbleached flour, And then I'm going to need 1 3/4 cup of sugar. I do have my sugar ready, my big sugar canister. Oh goodness. So, bear with me as I do things. I'm going to see, I need 1 3/4. So I'm going to use my measuring spoon. So I'm going to use 3/4 first. 1 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. And since I've already used my cup, I'll use a 1/2 cup. And I'll need 2 of these to make 1 cup. So 1 3/4 cup of sugar. Get that full. Okay. There we go. And then let's see, I need a 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. I use Hershey's Special Dark. I love dark chocolate. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so I need a 1/2 cup. So let's use this. And I need a spoon. Grab my things. So I got me a spoon. And I'm just gonna spoon a 1/2 cup of cocoa in my measuring cup so I can try to get it in here. Okay, that looks pretty good. 1/2 cup of cocoa. And 1 tablespoon of baking soda. I'm making a mess. Baking soda, Arm & Hammer. And I apologize that I don't have all my tools ready. I thought I was ready. I've got a lot going on today. I have to make chili as well. My niece requested my chili, not her grandmother's, mine. And she wanted my chocolate trifle cake. And the thing about this cake is you can do a lot of variations with it, which I'll get into that with you. We're gonna get the batter made. This cake actually was a chocolate turtle cake recipe. But the cake part is so versatile, it's so moist, and it's so good. And if you try this, you won't ever go back to a box mix cake mix again because this is fabulous. So I need baking soda, 1 tablespoon. Quit babbling, Marnie, and get with it. So I got a 1/2 tablespoon scoop because this one fits in my container very well. So I'm going to use a 1/2 tablespoon, and a 1/2 tablespoon makes 1 tablespoon. So I'm just going to sprinkle that in there. All right. So 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and now I need a teaspoon of salt. Got my salt container. If I can get the lid off, everything is, So I need a teaspoon of that. Teaspoon of salt. All right, I am going to mix this together with a whisk. And then I am going to pour a cup of hot coffee in this as well, but we're not going to do that until last. So right now I'm just going to get my dry ingredients mixed. And then I am going to beat the egg mixture and the buttermilk and oil in with my dry ingredients and get the batter going. And then after I get the batter mixed up, I'm going to pour a cup of hot coffee in it. The coffee is like a key ingredient. I don't know what the coffee does. It must give it moisture, but I don't know. But this chocolate cake is the moist delicious. Way better than boxed. And the thing of it is, I know what's in it because I put it in there. So basic ingredients, not hard to make. So what I'll do is when I get this all mixed up, I will bake it in the oven at 350 in a rectangular pan. And when it's done, and it cooks for about 30-35 minutes, you know, when you touch a cake and it springs back, or if you put a toothpick in it, you know, you pretty much know it's done. And after it cools, I will cut it up into cubes, and I will make 2 boxes of chocolate instant pudding. And we're going to do this one with raspberries, and you can do any kind of fruit. I sometimes do a can of chocolate cherries, the chocolate pudding, heavy whipped cream whipped, and what you're going to do is you're going to layer it in a bowl. And today we're gonna do raspberries. But I've done strawberries before, and I've done this in a vanilla cake before, and done it with strawberries, coconut pudding, and whipping cream, flaked coconut. You can put nuts in it. I mean, it's just a versatile cake, but it's really, really good if you try it. But this part video is just going to be on mixing the cake. I've given you the ingredients and everything, so hopefully you might want to try this, but we're going to get this mixed up. So I am going to try to move my camera over to my counter here. I'm sorry, my filming isn't the greatest, so I'm going to see if I can get you over here where my mixer is. This thing is supposed to follow me. I got a new device here. So I am trying to make my camera part of my videos better. So I'm going to put this on my kitchen egg mixer, and I've got just a regular paddle. I'm going to put my paddle on here, and a little splash guard here that mostly prevents the dry ingredients from coming up, but sometimes it escapes it. So put that in there. Let me see. I'm going to try to move you a little bit closer, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. All right, let's get this thing going. I'm going to put it on low. I told you my batter sometimes flies out. It's not the greatest. But I'm going to pour my wet ingredients in. And try not to make a mess. All right. Got that going. And it's a little thick. But I've got it basically mixed up. I am going to grab a cup of hot coffee. So let me get my measuring cup here with the buttermilk and egg in it. Enjoy the view for a minute while I get a cup of coffee out of my my coffee pot. All right, so I need 1 cup of hot coffee. And I had some morning brew left in my coffee maker, which is still hot, so I've got a cup of hot coffee. And I'm going to turn my mixer back on, and I'm going to slowly pour this coffee in here, and it'll loosen up my batter. The machine will struggle. But I'm just going to slowly pour it in there. And this will mix up really nice. I'm not the cleanest. I try to keep it clean, but this thing gets messy sometimes, and I hate a mess. So my guard, I don't know if it's the greatest thing, because it's supposed to keep everything in the bowl, but sometimes it escapes it. And it's messy. So anyway, I am going to let this mix for a couple of minutes. Sorry, I'm getting off camera. I have a glass. I use a glass, but you can use metal. It doesn't matter. Just a nice rectangular pan. And I will spray this up with some baking spray, and I will pour it in my pan. I've got my oven already heating, so I should be able to get it in there. And you cook it on 350, like I said, for about 30-35 minutes, and you pretty much know when it's done if you're a cake baker. Toothpick, finger touch, whatever, you'll be able to tell. But and after it bakes for 30-35 minutes, I'll pull it out and I'll let it cool. And my next video, I will show you how I put together the trifle. And I think once you see it, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I gotta make that. This is one of my favorite things to do is baking, and I would like to get some more stuff on here, but life here in my farmhouse is very busy. There's people here all the time, so we're constantly doing things. And I always say that there's not enough hours in the day to really get the things done that I want to do. And we'll go over the recipe with you again. I have this book here that I keep all my recipes in, and I don't even remember where I got this recipe, but I'm going to go over it with you again if you want to write it down. It's the chocolate cake, and it is 1 egg, 2/3 cup of vegetable oil, 1 cup of buttermilk, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cups of sugar, a 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of hot brewed coffee. And you know the first 3 ingredients, you're going to mix it up into a small bowl. Your buttermilk, your oil, and your egg. Those are your wet ingredients. And then you're going to put your dry ingredients in a bowl, and you're going to mix it up. And then you're going to pour the egg, the buttermilk, and the oil in with it until it mixes up. And then the hot cup of coffee you pour in last. And it will make your cake very almost thin. And once it gets all mixed up, we will pour it in the cake pan. And you can see I've prepared my pan, so I think she's pretty good. I'm going to shut her off. And, get this ready. So you can see, I don't know if you can see how thin it is. Well, I can get you over here where I can see my camera. I got this new thing, and it's supposed to follow me, or follow my face. But anyway, it's kind of thin. And I'm going to take my paddle off, and I'm going to pour it into my pan. And try not to make my mixer too messy. My mixer is a good girl. I really, really love my stand-up KitchenAid mixer. So, take this off, and I'm going to pour it into the pan. So, follow me, camera. She's not working. Let me just turn you so you can see. Apologize for my poor cameramanship, but it's just me. So, I've got it pouring into the pan. Oh, stop. I have my 3 dogs in here, so if you hear barking, it's just them. They have a big picture window where they can look out and they see things. And of course, my Quincy, he antagonizes Millie. Millie's the pit bull. She's a pitiful, huh? I know, I see you. Be a good girl. What do you think, guys? They're in every room that I'm in. They have to be with me. Okay, I think I've got it pretty well. But I could scrape out my bowl a little bit more. I want to get all that good batter into my cake. So I'm just going to scrape it a little bit. And really try to get all that cake goodness into my pan. Sorry, I'm not faster, but Jim always tells me slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I think. I don't know. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Yeah, I think that's what he tells me. Alright, we're going to call this good, and I'm going to take this over to my Farmhouse oven. You can see there. And, whew, she's heavy. So, I've got an old-fashioned oven. I love this old girl. She's fitting for my Farmhouse kitchen. So, I am going to put this in, and I am going to let it bake for 30 or 35 minutes. And hopefully you will stay tuned for my part 2 video when I have it out, and we'll put the trifle cake together, okay? Join me for my next one. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to my Farmhouse kitchen. This is the second version of my chocolate trifle cake. The cake is cooked, and as you can see, I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut this up. But first of all, I've chilled my KitchenAid mixer bowl, and I am going to whip up my whipped cream first, because while that's whipping, I can prepare the cake and get everything ready to put in it. So I'm going to start. I have have some leftover cream here. And I'm just going to put that in. And put this one in. Plastic jigger off. There we go. Alright, I'm going to put the whole thing in. It's good to have your bowl cold because your whipped cream will whip up better and it whips it faster and stiffer. Put that on. And I am going to add a little powdered sugar just to give it a little sweetness. So I'll just sweeten it up a little bit. Too much. Too much. I'm just kind of guesstimating how much sugar I should put in here. I don't really ever measure too much, kind of like my grandmother. But this will whip up, and I want to whip it up so it's really good and stiff. Let me grab a cloth here. Powdered sugar. Okay. So I'm going to let this mix, and I'm going to come over here. Okay, so we got the cake here, and I'm going to cut this up, and I'm going to make it into cubes. So it's all nice and cool. I did this morning. Okay, hold on just 1 second. Alexa, turn off the music. Forgot to shut her off. She might interfere with my telling you what I'm doing here. So I am just cutting these into 1-inch rows. And we are going to cube this whole thing, and then I'm going to layer half the cubes on the bottom of my bowl. And then we'll layer it with some chocolate pudding, some whipped cream, and I'm going to fix up the raspberries as well with a little sugar, and we are going to just layer this all together. And I like to use a glass see-through bowl so you can kind of see the pretty layers too. This is a really pretty cake, or a dessert I should say. When you get it all mixed up, you like to see all the goodness that's inside. It would be really great if I had a nice big bowl that had a flat bottom with like straight up sides, but this is what I have, so I'm just going to use what I have. And let me just look at my whipped cream, see the whipping. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, and I'm going to get a scooper. I'm going to scoop out some of this cake. And I got these nice little cubes, and I'm just going to kind of layer them into the bottom of the bowl. And this cake is really moist. It's really good. So I'm just kind of arranging them on the bottom so we have a nice even layer. Whipped cream, it's just about whipped, but I like to get it nice and stiff. I don't want my whipped cream to melt. Some people like theirs soft. I like mine super firm, but I don't want to turn it into butter either, so you be really careful when you watch it. Alright, so I want like half of this. And I kind of layer it up the sides a little bit. Make sure I got all my cake in here spread nice and evenly. And a little bit of toast. Go down there in the middle. Okay. Some sauce. And cream is pretty stiff. And it helps that my bowl is good and cold because it keeps my whipped cream nice and cold and stiff. So let me put this over here. I've got a bowl of raspberries here, and I am going to sugar these up to give them a little sweetness, and it'll let out the natural juices when I want to put it in the cake. So I need a measuring cup. I'm gonna guesstimate maybe a half a cup of sugar just to kind of sweeten them up and kind of release some of their natural juices. So we'll put some sugar in there and I'll just shake them up. I don't really want to smush them or anything because raspberries are very delicate. So, hey, the birthday girl's here. So it might get crazy and barking in here, but I'm gonna get out my chocolate pudding. I mixed this up ahead, and this is just basic instant pudding, and then I use 2 boxes, and it makes quite a bit. But it's nice and chilled. And I'm going to grab a spoon. And I'm going to just drop little spoonfuls of pudding over the cake. And then I will layer this with some raspberries and some whipped cream. And then I'm going to put the rest of the cake and layer it into this dessert. And I will sprinkle on some chocolate chips and nuts. So I have a feeling that things are about to get crazy, so I will show you. Okay, the gang's all here, and I've got the cake put together. As you can see, this pretty bowl, we've got the cake, the pudding, and the whipped cream layered with another layer, and the raspberries, don't forget the raspberries. And then another layer of the cake, the pudding, the whipped cream, and raspberries, and then I top the final top with some whipping cream and a few raspberries on top and some nuts and some chocolate chips just to give it crunch. So it's happy birthday to Lexi. She turned 12 today, and I'm going to get on making some chili and some good old cornbread, spoon bread for dinner. So thanks for watching.